It's here for your Mamunia Kwaba about Melodies Podcast YouTube channel. So, say, men's gold in Senno, men's gold in Senno, and can you na Juana and Dra made the reports be bare more. I say, some company being so at the Nkrofusi Kajan and a company in no mudin the GCCH. Nendra made the brow or share customers now almost soon after president. No senior men's gold. Customers ne so fair president now, and then so me sorry yes say company being so chese omo dem crofo sike jania company your friend TCL market na yenyanche yes company we omo wo eye dansoman na company we so yenyanche yes every month no more 30%, every month no more 30%. It here for osha easy ntino isi Nkrofusi ako pa TCL market no Nkrofusi ako came yenyanti yese Nkrofu I think over 2,000 Ghanaians sika ako came asisi a ayed dem pa yesi national security air try so bejiska no ama Nkrofu no na young konkofa more reports on this.
So yesterday I did some further checks into another one called TCL, and we're told there were over 5,000 customers. Over 5,000 customers for TCL. So Godfred, you were telling me that for GCCH, the figures are not clear because
from the national security side,
yes,
that is EOCO and BNI who've been carrying out investigations, they are working with 3,000 numbers, with 3,000 customers. But generally, those who have been talking about it make use of the numbers that are on the GCCH platform, which said that they had over 100,000 people.
100,000
people registered onto their community. But for the national security and the investigations that had been carried on, as at December, they were working with 3,000 customers and almost 4 million Ghana cedis in losses. But if you listen to the customers, they say 135 million with over 100,000 customers.
Okay, now I believe that 3,000 more because I was speaking to some people close to the other one, TCL.
Yes.
And I'm told their customers are around 5,000. And that started around 2017. So it seems like some of these companies, the business model is pretty simple. Bring money to us or deposit money with us, we will trade with the money. So in this particular case, we are told that there was a trading that
forex trading.
Yes, so there's a partner who was good at forex trading.
Okay.
And this partner would trade in South Africa and then pay back. So if I give them $4,000, they will open an account for me. It's an online account, and some people were being paid by crypto. And others were paid through a bank, right? So, and I'm told there were about 5,000 customers, and they were being paid. If you did, so there were different tiers. So the lowest tier you get 30% per month.
Hey.
Yes, because it seems to me that the forex trading capabilities of your partner will determine how much liquidity you get. Or how much you can get from the money you collect from people. And then you pay back those high dividends. Because I was trying to interrogate people close to this business and ask them, how were these guys able to pay 30%? And they said, well, they were doing forex. So, and I'm told forex trading, if done well, can sometimes give you over 200% return.
But it's also very risky, isn't it?
That's what I'm told. So my point is that the business model of some of these companies was based on using depositors' money to trade in the forex space.
Okay.
And then you use that to pay them astronomical returns. So 30% per month was what they were offering some of these companies. Can you imagine?
30%?
I'm telling you.
Yesterday we were screaming our heads over 27.
Yes.
30%.
Yeah, 30%. So this is what it is, and it's a big thing because I'm told that this one has over 5,000 customers.
Yeah. For me, I first heard about. I saw the building on a morning jog, and asked myself what this was because it's located at a spot that used to be a very popular fast food joint. It's called Gold House, near the Dansoman Control Market. So I saw it doing a jog. I didn't pay too much attention. I thought it was one of these microfinance companies. Then about a month ago, somebody called me and said that there seemed to be a bit of commotion around the TCL building. And I said, the TCL building, what's happening? Then they said, it's a crypto-based investment. And it looks like people have started complaining about their money being locked up in there because it hadn't opened up for a while. So I should come and look at it. So I started asking around the neighborhood. And about 2 weeks ago, I was able to sit down with somebody who had dealt with them extensively, during from the period that it was set up all through to the current situation. And what we do know is that the national security apparatus is heavily involved in this at the moment.
When you say involved, they are trying to
resolve the issue by making sure that the customers who are there get their monies paid back to them.
Okay, so listen, I'm just trying to lay the foundation for what I'm going to do today. Two things we want to do. We want to explore the full extent of the liquidity crisis we are facing in some aspects of the Ghanaian economy, and find out the link between some of these unlicensed or poorly regulated companies and traditional banking. In fact, I was told that one of these companies at some point was paying its customers through GM Bank.
Yes.
At some point.
Yes.
So my concern is which affected which? Was it that their business affected? Did their business contribute to GM Bank's collapse?
Yes.
Or the GM Bank's liquidity problems affect their ability to pay?
The person I spoke to said they affected GM Bank. And that is what led to a personal complaint from what the insider told me. It was Papa Kwesi himself who took a pen and paper and wrote to authorities that go and check out these TCL people.
Interesting.
Yes.
So, because the people I spoke to also thought that GM Bank's liquidity challenges affected their ability to pay. But of course, we don't have all the facts. So that's one thing. Now, the other point is, so in a situation like this, one of the things we try to do is to let you see the relationship between things. The relationship between things. So I feel we haven't done that well enough. All these companies, remember the Bank of Ghana came up with a list of 5 companies that people should not deal with.
Yes.
Who should not collect deposits.
Yes.
I think there are similarities with those companies that we haven't dug in properly.
Yes. Let me just give you the companies.
Yes.
Global Coin Community,
GCCH,
Help International, Wealth Drive, Ghana Limited.
Wealth Drive.
Yes. WDG. Devonshire Place Capital Ghana Limited.
Devonshire Place.
TCL Markets Ghana Limited.
TCL Markets.
FX Crypto Traders.
FX Crypto Traders.
Sonsis Susu Services.
Sonsis Susu
Services. Okay. These are the ones.
Now, I think there's a very interesting clue that FX crypto trading gives us. Because as I was saying to you, the business model of these organizations is pretty simple. So, mobilize deposits from people who, on the basis of wanting to make money, will give you their money.
Yeah.
Get somebody who knows how to trade on the forex market. Send that money to the person in bulk.
Yeah.
That person will do trades. Now, the payment is 2. You can either say, let me pay them back by opening crypto wallets for them, or I'll pay them regularly through a financial partner.
Yeah.
Use a type of multi-level marketing or word of mouth with incentives to tell people, because if you simply advertise on radio and TV and say,
nobody will mind you.
So if you put Godfred and say, okay, Godfred, get Bernard and Kojo to bring us $5,000 each. We'll give them 27% return per month. You will get 5% of everything they get. You have an incentive to convince Kojo and Bernard to come on board.
Yes.
Now, if Kojo and Bernard also get somebody else to come on board, you still get something.
Something, yeah.
So it's aggressive word of mouth, incentive-based marketing. Some type of crypto FX mixture, which is not very clear because there are two different things.
Yes.
FX trading is a very legitimate business.
Yes.
Crypto is now emerging.
Yeah.
I think that because of don't forget that last year there was this time in the market where Bitcoin value rose very high.
Yes, almost it got to 20,000.
So that led to a lot of interesting people calling me and saying they were doing seminars on people investing in crypto. So I think some of these guys took advantage of that crypto bubble to convince people that you can put your money into something that's doing well and that the traditional banking system will not offer you the same thing, and therefore come and bring your money into it. Yeah. You get me? So that's the second trend. And then, of course, what they didn't legislate for was that playing the FX market is a skill that requires more than simply being a good guesser, right? And then, of course, the macroeconomic environment meant that certain banks and financial institutions were going to have problems. That even if you legitimately ask them to pay some money, they may not be able to do so. So